You know, the NDLEA representatives who came to our studio some time back, revealed certain things that was quite shocking to me, because drug abuse is, when you talk about drug abuse, you are almost always talking about men, because men are the ones that are prone, just like you are talking about, it's a man's world. So I was shocked with the numbers that he's spilling, that women are actually, to some extent, more involved in drugs than their male counterpart in some states, especially Kano. Kano State, 2 million women are abusing drugs daily. It is not from me. I'm going to play back that interview. In Enugu, 48% of the drug abuse in Enugu are done by women. Women? Oh yeah, women. You heard me right. Stunning. Throughout the show, I was just saying, wow, whoa, yeah. And part of what causes this drug abuse is mostly poverty and unemployment. My brother, my sister, please don't keep any youth unengaged. That thing that they speak about, something's on the devil's workshop, and I don't mind it's the devil's workshop. It is what it is. Don't keep a youth unemployed, and that is the bad part of what is actually awaiting Nigeria in the future if it doesn't take it, do things right and do it immediately. When you have a large car share of unemployed youth in Nigeria, doom awaits you in the future. It's more like you're wasting the country's youthful population. People who should have been putting their expertise in doing one or two things to develop themselves and the country, they're using it for something else. It is dangerous. It is bad. It is poor. It is not nice. And then you have the peer pressure. My friend is doing it. My friend took it. Damn it, man. Just thinking about this now, I'm scared for my children. I've never said this before on my channel. I'm scared for my kids. So you mean these guys are going to go to the world and face this unimpressive number of people who are into drugs? It is that bad, guys. It is that bad. And I think we should have to do something about it collectively and quickly too. I was shocked about the numbers in the north. I mean, in the north, religion plays a huge role in the north, and you would think that it's not possible that women will be involved in drugs there. But 2 million, it's too much a number. How many a day that 2 million women are abusing drugs daily? I'm not to talk about the one in Enugu though, and that's for Kano. I'm not talking about the ones for Lagos, Ibadan, and the likes. It is a menace, and something has to be done, and done quickly too. So I'll just allow you to listen to the interview, and let me have your say on it. I would really, truly love to hear from you as always. God bless.
I consider my being here not just a mere coincidence, but very timely. And I just want to say straight out that it's not necessary for us to start playing the ostrich and pretend it's not happening. It is terrible. And unfortunately, those things we hold very dear, women are custodians of our values, is grossly being eroded. And these days, we're getting more and more disturbing news of women overtaking men in the drug business. But I want to equally tell you that it did not start today. It's been a trend that we have not taken seriously. Unfortunately, in Edo and Delta, we do apologize to those affected. Most homes you go to, the families rally around and send their daughters abroad to go and sell drugs. Italy, Germany, the statistics are there. In fact, for those that have not been able to send their daughters to those countries, they are being attacked negatively of not keying into the investment. And you will agree with me that this issue of codeine and tramadol, how was it discovered that it was a problem? It was amongst a gathering of a prominent Kano politician that was having a get-together in his house. Then, of course, you know the women will gather somewhere. So while they were gathering and enjoying, phone was missing. So they said, no, they need to search for the phone. In the course of the search, the law enforcement people discovered that the women had large quantities of codeine and this cough syrup laced with codeine. And the enormity of it was so much, it could not be concealed. That was when the alarm came out. And they started checking why the codeine, why the cough syrup with codeine. They now saw that when consumed, that it keeps them on, since they can't smoke or drink. So within themselves, they consume codeine, cough syrup with codeine. And they now looked at the statistics. It was brought to the house, the problem. And they now did a survey and discovered that daily, 2 million women in Kano take drugs, especially the codeine and tramadol. Then in Jigawa, every day, 1 million women, as it is, as I'm talking with you. Is that not disturbing? It's
Exactly.
disturbing.
But I'm stunned by these revelations that you're putting.
You have to, you should.
What does it help them do? And secondly, I just wanted to find out again, because maybe I missed that particular line you said. This was how tramadol and syrup was found out to be prevalent amongst youth in the north. Is it a recent
women.
amongst women? Is it a recent happening? When was this?
That was 2008.
2008.
2008 is 2018. Sorry.
2018.
2018.
This was how NDLEA found out that women take these drugs?
This is how the whole society of Nigeria found out. Not only NDLEA. But we took it a step further and started, first of all, by pursuing legislation for it to be a controlled substance when we knew it was actually a problem. And it was substance subject to high abuse and intoxication.
So what does it help these women do?
I'm not a woman. And I don't take tramadol and codeine. But from the interviews and those we have prosecuted, is another way of getting high.
Just to get high?
Well, the same reason people take cannabis, people take methamphetamine. There's crystal ice in our local palace, Oromin. You know, the legislation are three men, with due apologies too, in the north. The women are not, because of the religion, they are not allowed certain things. But within them and their cluster, the same way, the way they discovered that this thing, that they could use it to get high, I don't know. But as I tell you, the whole northern states, they have taken it to the floor of the House of Assembly. And what is required is to create effective awareness on the dangers. Because some of these women don't know.
The dangers?
The dangers, definitely. They don't know. So they just take it because, the women are always together and it's a social gathering. And they do it. So the northern senators and House of, I think one Alaji Dodo, if I'm not mistaken, brought it to the House. And over 40 something members put it up that there is need to really, really look into it. Imagine consuming 2 million of tramadol every day in a state.
Every day.
So it's quite disturbing.
Wow.
Can you provide the type of the profiles? Is it per age? What age do you think?
Okay, between the ages of 16 to 45.
Wow.
These are the healthy, working
Women.
and viable age being destroyed.
I mean, to look at it from a broader perspective, I mean, Kano is a very religious state. And of course, for a woman at that period, usually on their hijab, and then you wonder, this number is quite shocking. I've never heard a thing like this before. But I'm just wondering, you said Kano is 2 million, Jigawa is 1 million, and I'm wondering, what would Lagos be? What would a place like Oyo be, and what would a place like Rivers be? It's actually a problem. Where do we go from here?
Beautiful. I'll just briefly give you a practical experience. When I discovered what I did, unfortunately, I went into the inner part of my office. I cried. I've always been on the side of operations before I got into counseling. Incidentally, I was head of strike force, Lagos State. On this fateful day, we went for operations. Usually I lead my operations. We arrested a young girl somewhere around Ojudu. We were arrested in a joint. We went to raid a joint. And in the joint, we arrested a girl amongst other young men. When we got to my office, we now discovered that this girl, as at then, was 16 years old, 15 plus. And she was in a boarding school somewhere around there. It was on a Friday. She went on that Friday to stay with the boyfriend, whom we equally arrested. That night, she followed the boyfriend to go and buy cannabis, which she said she's been smoking for the past 2 years. Wow. At 15 plus. And watch out, she was built to ride jump the next day, Saturday. And I now asked her, your parents, are they aware? She said no. And as I am the only daughter, that if we let the parents know that the mother will commit suicide. I was now left between my professional ethics and the human side of it. And I said, well, you don't throw away the baby with the dirty water. I recommended to my commander, let us give her administrative bail. Let her go and write her jump. We held the boyfriend down because of the quantity of cannabis we saw with him. We collected the details. She wrote jam the next day. We now traced the mom and called her. She came to office at Ikeja, Nako. We asked her to ask the daughter to come. They now went to bring the daughter. When they brought the daughter to office, the girl almost passed out. But we didn't have any choice but to open up to the mother. And the mother was shocked. So from this scenario, 15 or 16-year-old girl, secondary school, I'm not a politician, and I've never ascribed to be one. There's something the First Lady of Enugu State has initiated and is working. She says it's a foundation for the girl child. Costos
Yes, Costos.
Foundation. And not less than 2 times, June 26th, she partnered with us to get a lot of girls from the secondary school to do a sensitization roadwork. Positive. Thumbs up for her. But it goes much more than that. So she needs to step up on it and not leave it to her aides. But what impressed me was that she was part of that roadwork from beginning to end. I was actually impressed. And since then, for whatever reasons, she has not gotten across to us. But I will equally advise that she puts her people on ground. The drug menace, let us narrow it down to Enugu. For the girl child, it is bad enough.
It is.
As I speak with you, a recent survey says that as of today, over 400,000 youths in Enugu are abusing drugs.
400,000.
400,000 now, according to P2B. The records are there. Go and verify. These things are domiciled in public domain. They are not. We are not. We don't have reasons to falsify or exaggerate figures. But
By youth, you mean both men and women,
both men and women.
Okay.
But I want to tell you that amongst this figure, about 48% are women.
Wow.
48% in Enugu State. And unfortunately, it has, when something bad crops up, it becomes a multi-headed hydra. Drug abuse now has given birth to cultism amongst girls in secondary schools. I wouldn't want to name the schools for obvious reasons. But the mechanism the state government have, they should be able to identify such schools in Enugu State.
Well, you're partnering with the First Lady. I mean, you should have just mentioned it to her. And so
I said,
for investigation
the
purposes.
partnership, about 2 times road work. And I said since then, they have not gotten
reached out
to NDLA.
So-
It's something that needs to be,
Yeah.
is a routine thing. It's not, it's a routine thing. I have my job to do. I don't think it will be
Yes.
proper for me every day. I go and start hanging at our government's house. Oh, no, I can't
Okay,
do
so
that.
let's talk about the role of NDLEA. What measures are you putting in place, to address this rising involvement of women in trafficking of drugs?
Thank you very much. I would have been disappointed if you didn't ask me. I want to tell you for free that we are very much on top of it. As I speak with you, the Honorable Chairman Chief Executive, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, have put up a 5-year drug control master plan scheme from 2000 OH to 2021 to 2025.
Okay.
5-year master plan. And the aim, just like this year's United Nations thing, we want to deal more on counseling. It is cheaper to counsel people, let them know the dangers of drugs, than to arrest and use taxpayers' money and prosecute. And that is the 80% vision of the Honorable Chairman, which my state commander is 100% has keyed in. Mr. Abel Sunu Wadahi commander of narcotics, Enugu State commander. He has made sure that at least every week we carry out a minimum of 5 sensitization in schools and major parts of Enugu State from our meager resources from NDLA. I don't know if you understand what I've said.
I'll get you.
From the little, maybe, allowances to run his office, he uses it to do sensitization, at least 5 every week, which is part of what I'm doing here. He fueled the jeep and made sure we have come. So what I will suggest, we are not really keen on stuffing our cells with suspects. We are more interested in letting people know the dangers embedded, inherent in this hideous crime. And we are succeeding. Initially, we had State Drug Abuse Control Committee, which the First Lady is heading. But it has not been very active, not only in Enugu State, but across. And they now looked, what do we do? The chairman have now trickled it down to local government drug abuse control committee, with the wife of the local government chairpersons as head. Then the women leaders, councillors, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and all that. So the thing is trickling down to almost the nooks and crannies. Fortunately, before this is my little promotion, I was the immediate past area commander, Oji River. And before it was comprising of 2 or 3 local governments. But the chairman is saying no. That for us to make effective impact, all the local governments now must have NDLE officers. Okay. And he's paying. And a tasking order too, that all the area command must carry out sensitization in schools and relevant places.
I just wanted to ask this because, again, many people in some quarters will say that the fight against drug abuse is one that is, yes, important, but it does look like it will not really yield the fruits, maximum fruit, that more people are being exposed to drug every single day. They gave example of, for instance, US, UK, in other countries where you can buy cannabis across the counter. And even the governor of Ondo State, God bless his soul, Akeredolu, at some point was advocating for, to legalize drugs. I mean,
and there's another person you have not mentioned, Showore. No, I mean, this is the public domain.
Yes.
Showore is an advocate, yes.
So I'm just wondering, to what extent, really, how is the NDLA, reacting to that thought about legalizing a drug, and at the same time, because again, so there are some aspects of that drug that is used to even do our medicine today. So I'm just wondering, how is the NDLA reacting to these?
Beautiful. I will equally tell you categorically, without missing words, we are totally against legalizing those things they call medical cannabis or whatever. The reasons are simple. We don't have the mechanisms to control. We don't have. And it's subject to 95% abuse. That we have put legislation and is being abused. When you now remove some of these legislations, then, but again, they say like corruption. Corruption has become endemic. It has fortified itself. It has bulletproof. That is how the drug war was before now. Unfortunately, there were instances where we're seeing connivance and all that, and drug barons succeeding, until this chairman came. I'm not patronizing. The records are what? Yeah. Are there. Go and verify. Recently, and it cumulates from the statistics we have, and the arrest. You're the one that mentioned the arrest of 9 billion substance. I want to equally inform you of the Canadian woman, Munjo, arrested with about 74 parcels, and Annette Munjo, a Canadian citizen. And the reason, she was recruited online from an online platform for 10,000 Canadian dollars. And what was her reason for doing this? To further her master's degree program in Canada. Wow. And what does it tell us? That we should be careful the kind of platform we're engaging. And maybe this person has equally promised her, I will marry you. Just do this. So the women should stop being gullible. They should stop being desperate. And look at somebody doing masters. What stops you from working and apply for grants and aid, knowing fully well that immediately you graduate, you will benefit?
Okay, let's talk about the woman actually, and of course other people who have been, arrested. What legal framework are in place, to deal with the women caught in trafficking? Are there rehabilitation, reintegration programs? What have you guys done, to deal with those women that have been caught already?
I'm very happy with you with the questions you're asking. And that is what I would have talked about if you didn't ask me. We have a rehabilitation center in Enugu, 100% funded by NDLA.
Okay.
Wow. We invite people to come and.
Where is it located?
In my office, in our office.
Okay.
Okay.
But then, it's a small rehab that accommodates maximum of 20 people. But sometimes it's overstretched, and we say, okay, because sometimes parents will come and cry. Prominent parents from Enugu State. One of them touched my heart yesterday, a retired justice. I will not want to mention his name.
Wow.
For very obvious reasons. Retired. The man was shedding tears. His only son. And a lawyer too. You understand? Retired justice emeritus. Crying. So sometimes, when you don't do, that is why I said some